Figured out video. This was my favorite part. Look at those Cameron crazies with their arms up over there. Now just listen to how loud this crowd is. Number 1 is purported to be the #1 player in the country. So we're going to quickly remind you how to long divide. We're going to take the 3 into the 4, 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. Bring down the 7. 7 into 3 into 17, goes 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract. 2 would be the remainder, and if you remember how we used to do that, we used to take it up and put it over the divisor, so the answer would be 15 and 2/3. So we're going to set this up the same exact way. We're going to do x squared plus 3x plus 5 divided by x plus 1. Okay, when you're doing long division with polynomials, you always look at the first term and the first term. So x goes into x squared x times, so I'm going to put that x here. Now I'm going to multiply it, just like we do in regular long division. X times x is x squared, and x times 1 is x. But remember, we always subtract here. So if I subtract, I'm going to change the signs of both of these. So x squared minus x squared cancels. 3x minus x is 2x. Bring down the 5. Again, I'm going to look at this x into the 2x. 2x into 2x goes 2 times. Multiply it out. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. But again, I'm subtracting, which will change both signs. 2x minus 2x cancels. 5 minus 2 is 3, and that would be my remainder. So my answer is x plus 2 plus the remainder over the divisor. So this equals that. So the first thing I'm going to do is set this up as long division again. And again, I'm going to divide the first number into the first number. So 2x to the 4th divided by x squared equals 2x squared. Since this is x squared, I need to line it up above the x squared in the division problem, so I put 2x squared there. I'm now going to multiply it out by all 3 terms. 2x squared times 2x squared is 2x to the 4th. 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. And 2x squared minus 3 is negative 6x squared. I'm subtracting, so all those signs will change. This deletes, and negative 5x plus 6x becomes x squared. I'm also going to bring down this 2x. Okay, but now notice I had 2 terms cancel over here, and I'm going to be dividing by 3 terms, so I'm also going to bring down this negative 3. If I'm dividing by 3 terms, I need to have 3 terms pulled down here. I'm now going to take the x squared and put it into the x squared, and that goes 1 time, and since that's the constant, I'm going to add it at the end here. I'm going to multiply that 1 by all 3 terms, so 1 times x squared is x squared, 1 times 2x is 2x, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. I'm going to subtract these, and notice what happens. Everything cancels out to be 0. So my answer here is 2x plus 1, 2x squared plus 1. Since there's no remainder, I end with 2x squared plus 1. The remainder theorem says if a polynomial is divided by x minus k, then the remainder is the function evaluated at k? Okay, so now we're going to use -2 to evaluate 3x cubed plus 8x squared plus 5x minus 7 at x equals -2. But we're going to use synthetic instead of long this time. So we're going to take the -2, put it outside that upside down division. We're going to put in all of our coefficients. We have a cubed and a squared and a exponent of 1 and a -7. Remember, if I have any holes, I need to make sure I leave a space with a 0. Okay, so to review this, we're going to bring the 3 down. We're going to multiply -6 and put it here. We're going to add those. We're going to multiply -4 and add those. Okay, put it in here and add. Multiply -2 times 1, put it in here, you get -2, add those together, and you get -9. So here's what this gives me. It gives me a couple things. It gives me the polynomial divided by, remember, if this is a solution, then the factor that goes with it is the opposite. It's x plus 2. That would give me a solution at x -2. So this polynomial, 3x cubed plus 8x squared plus 5x minus 7 divided by x plus 2 gives me, now, key, if this is a cubed, right, because this cubed is this term, then this, when I divide by an x, this turns into a squared. So this gives me 3x squared from here. Then it gives me plus 2x from here. And then it gives me, whoops, plus 1. I didn't want that. I want that to be blue. Plus 1 from here. And I have a remainder of 9. So remember what I do with that. -9, I say minus 9 over x plus 2. That would be the division answer. But also remember from a couple days ago when we did synthetic substitution that this also means that the function evaluated at -2 gives me -9. So I have the ordered pair -2, -9 on the graph as well. Okay, factor theorem says that a polynomial has a factor of x minus k if and only if you remember that from geometry, that stands for if and only if the function evaluated at k equals 0, which makes sense because that would mean I have the ordered pair k0, which is a solution. It can be used to solve 3 types of problems. The first one was given a factor, find the others. Given a 0, find the others. And lastly, given one solution, find the other solutions. These bells are going to drive me crazy. Find the other solutions. Okay, so given our polynomial, factor it completely knowing that x minus 3 is a factor. So I have a choice. I can do long division and set up long division, 2x cubed minus 11x squared plus 3x plus 36 divided by x minus 3 and do long division, or I can do synthetic. We obviously would choose synthetic, so we're going to set up the upside down division, and I don't like that. Put in my leading coefficients, so I have a cubed and then I have negative 11 as my squared term, and then 3 as my x term, and then 36 as my constant. But remember, if x minus 3 is a factor, then I'm dividing by the solution. The solution would be 3. So I'm dividing by 3. So bring down the 2, multiply, put in here, add, multiply, put in here, add, multiply, put in here, add. Here is what the factor theorem was saying. If this ends up to be 0, that means I have the point 3, 0, because I divided by 3 on the graph, which means x minus 3 would be a factor. When I take this from a cube, getting that from the polynomial, and I divide by x, this now becomes a squared. So what this gives me is 2x squared minus 5x plus 12 left to factor. So I'm fully factoring, so I'm going to multiply a times c. That would give me 24. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8. That's going to be my answer. No, it's not. 4 times 6. Okay, I see my problem. This right in here is a negative 12, so this needs to be a negative 12. So I'm going to just make that a negative 12 right here. Okay, so that would be negative 24. So I need negative 24, so I'm going to do a negative 8 and a positive 3. I'm going to split the middle. So I'm going to write the 2x squared first. I'm going to split the middle into plus 3x minus 8x minus 12, and I'm going to factor by grouping. This would be the result of factor by grouping, but don't forget that this is also a factor of this polynomial, so I need to bring it down with my answer, and this would be completely factored. Find the other zeros of f of x, blah, 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 given that f of negative 2 equals 0, which means I have a solution at negative 2, 0. So I'm going to synthetically divide negative 2 into 1x cubed plus 2x squared minus 9x minus 18. I should end up with a 0 here if this is the case, because I know that that is the point. So I'm going to bring this down, multiply, I'm going to multiply and put it in here, add, I wanted that in red. I'm going to multiply, put in here, add. I'm going to multiply, put in here, and add, and I end up with 0. That's good. Okay, so I have found one of the zeros is negative 2. Remember, again, if this is a cube, and I divide by an x, this now becomes x squared. So I have 1x squared plus 0x minus 9. So I have x squared minus 9, which is the difference of squares. Okay. Now I'm looking for zeros, so I get x equals 3 here, and x equals negative 3 here. So my zeros are negative 2, 0, 3, 0, and negative 3, 0. Okay, I have about 30 seconds left, so I'm going to need you to pause and read this. Since profit is in millions, I'm going to substitute this 25 in for P. I'm going to set it to standard form. I'm going to solve, since I know I have a 1, I can put in, and that 25 will give me a 0, I'm going to synthetically divide. So since I bought this, started with a cubic, this now is a squared, so I have 21x squared plus 21x minus 25 equals 0, and I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula, and I get an answer of 0.7, which would be 700,000 shoes.